y'all have so much power in what y'all say. It can really make or break the man that you're speaking to. Mm-hmm. So definitely I would encourage if you can say something nice to one of the men in your life that you love, if you can see him changing and becoming better, encourage him on it, because he might not think anybody sees it. Mm-hmm. He might be like, you know what? Nobody sees me change. Yeah. Nobody cares about this. Yes. And if you say, hey, I see you being more patient. Mm-hmm. I see you being more loving. I see you being more understanding. That would go a long way.
Yeah, I'm quick to send my brother a text. Like, I'm so proud of you. I was just thinking about you and you're a great dad or whatever. Yeah. Because sometimes I just think about him and I'm like, man, he's a great man. Like,
beat the statistics.
Yes, he beat the statistics.
So have a great day. Don't bring no drama my way. Don't bring no drama my way. Don't bring no drama my way. Yeah, I might have a great day. Don't bring no drama my way. Don't bring no drama my way. Don't bring no drama my way. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Lish Speaks, back with another episode of your favorite podcast, I'll Just Let Myself In, the podcast where we don't wait for an imaginary permission slip or some seat at some imaginary table. We let ourselves in to our God-given gifts. We let ourselves in to our endeavors, the things that have been put on our heart to do. I'm excited because this episode is featuring, first of all, let me say this. It is June. It is Men's Health Awareness Month, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, the month of Father's Day, the month where we really give the men in our lives their flowers. And so if you're seeing this, you will have already seen men like Deshaun Robinson, who I respect and love. My dad, you have already seen him on the show. And now you are going to witness an episode with the man I love the third most in my life. There's my husband, there's my dad, and then there is my little brother, Gerald. Make some noise, everybody.
Well, oh yeah, I did. Hello.
Guys, this is my brother. Man, one of my best friends, one of the best people I know. Just a true... I'm already getting emotional. Just a heartsy guy. My brother is the person who I learned that being emotional and having feelings don't mean that you won't knock a person out. That's who I learned that from. He's the embodiment of tough, strong, protector, provider, but also will cry, will tell you how he feels, will play with his kids, will roll around on the floor. You are really an incredible person, and I'm going to give you your flowers today. But before we do that, I have the best segment in podcasting. It's called What I'm Stepping In. This is where I tell you guys what I'm stepping in for today. And you're in for a treat because I actually have not done this for a few episodes. I kind of been slacking. We've been having some guests that kind of had to go and things had to be quick. And my brother stunted on me today. He came in with a shoe that is one of my grails that I do not have. And if you know my sneaker collection, most of my grails I have or have had and sold. I have never had these. So I'm actually going to let you go first for the What I'm Stepping In segment of the show.
Okay. I used to be an avid sneakerhead, like big time, going to Flight Club.
Yes. Making me get up to go to Vinny's to wait for Supras. Yeah. If you don't know what Supras are, you were not a sneakerhead. You wasn't outside. But I'm going to let y'all
They had their time in the sun.
Yes,
they had their time 100%. In the sun.
100%.
I am wearing the SB Load De La Souls.
Yes.
And I got blessed with these by a raffle. And I remember when I got the call to pick them up, I was ecstatic.
Yes.
Because you know how it is when you get a sneaker through raffle.
Yes.
And it's like,
excited to spend your own money.
Yeah. It's like, oh, man. But I think I got these when they first came out. So it was like $175, which by today's standard, it's great because
Yeah.
I know these are selling for some crazy
Yes,
prices.
they are.
But I love them,
Yeah.
and I'm taking care of them.
Yes.
So
yeah, man, he got on Daylight SBs. The you and only one Wanda has a pair. One of my best friends, Wanda, has a pair. I do not have a pair of these shoes. I don't even have a pair of the other ones, the yellow and white, the high top ones. Every time I see them, either the price is more than I want to pay for a sneaker that's that old, or they're not in good condition.
Yeah.
And so I'm very jealous, but nonetheless, I'm happy for you that you got them.
Thank you.
I'm stepping in the white cement 4s, the 2025 release. I never had a pair of cement 4s when they first came out. That's not true. Actually ended up getting a pair of somebody, but they were so old that they fell apart because they were new. And I've done that with a couple of J's, and I've decided if I buy sneakers off somebody, they got to be worn because I don't want no more sneakers falling apart on me.
Yeah, trust
but
me.
I was able to go ahead and get these. Shout out to Soul Play. It was dope. I actually pulled up to Soul Play a couple weeks ago on the day that they dropped, and there was a line outside, and I was like, restore the feeling. Restore the feeling. It was good to see. I got there about 20 minutes before the store opened, so I didn't have to wait outside for long, but it was people out there. So I love to see, releases, first come, first serve releases, and people just being able to get their hands on shoes in the moment, not having to do raffles, even though raffles are dope, not having to order online, just being able to go to the store and pick up a sneaker. Me and my best friend Jasmine growing up, we used to stand outside of VIM, or if you're from Brooklyn, Vim's. Only when I went to high school in Harlem and people was calling it VIM. I'm like, you mean Vim's?
yeah, like what are you
I
talking
think
about?
only Brooklyn people say Vim's. But anyway, we used to go stand in front of Vim's and wait for Vim's to open to get our Jordans. So we've been sneakerheads as long as we can afford sneakers.
Yeah. As long, because I have one story about waiting in line for sneakers. I believe it was for the Concord
Did you ever
SBs.
camp out? Oh, was it for sneakers?
I did it one time and
that I
one
never
time
did.
only, and it was the worst experience that I've ever had. And this is something I would only do, I think I was like 20 something. So at the time it made sense.
Yeah.
But looking back at it now, it's like, bro, I just could have waited.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I wouldn't do that I did in my 20s for fashion.
They were the Concord SBs, I believe, or the Space Jam SBs.
Yeah.
And you had given me the money to get them for, I think, a birthday present or whatever.
I don't even remember that.
And I was like, all right, I gotta wait. And this was in Soho at a skate shop. I can't remember the name of the skate shop. So I go there early. It's already a line forming, and I'm like, all right, this will be good. I'm wearing shorts, got a cardigan on. I think I'm doing it, man. Then the nighttime comes. It get cold. It get real cold. I pull that cardigan close, and I had to sleep on a bank floor.
Nah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
you had to go inside.
Yeah, I had to go inside at some point. So it was me and a couple other people. I think my brother Kyle might have been with me, or somebody I knew might have been with me. We wound up sleeping on a bank floor across the street from the skate shop. And then morning came, and that's when all the chaos started. Because if y'all know anything about a dope sneaker release in New York, it could go either way. It could be real cool, or it could turn real violent. Like I know y'all remember like the pigeon fiasco and all of that. This one, it was heading that way. Because some dude got cut in line and he brought his mom, and his mom was ready.
Your mom.
Listen, your mother's your first protector. She was ready to cut people. It was a very tense situation. Yeah. But I got the sneakers. I get in, I got out. So again, it's like it was comedic now when I think about it. Like I would not do that now.
Yeah, no. So I'm loving that I'm having this conversation with you, because normally when I do what I'm stepping in, I just do it and I move on. But if you guys are seeing this, like we really are not new to this, true to this. I really love shoes. I really love sneakers. I dare say I passed that on to my little brother. He surpassed me at one point. He was very much about that life. But yeah, I remember buying you your first pair of Jordans. They were gray and green 5s.
Oh yeah, I wore them things. to the grave
for
and
your like
back.
12th birthday or something. Mind you, I was only like 15. I really thought I was doing something with my little brother. But I took my little money. I'm like, I'm gonna buy him these J's because he didn't have no J's. And I was the one in my family where my father had to buy me the sneakers. My brother and my sister could kind of like want something, and if they couldn't get it, they'd be ever. If I couldn't get it, it was a problem. And I'm still that way. And so I had all the sneakers. I was like, nah, my brother got it. We got to start getting his sneaker collection up. So, if you know, we are not new to this. We're true to this. That's what we stepping in. You know what we say here. If you like them, and in his case, if you can find them, go get you some.
And afford them.
That part. All right. So, Jared, man. So, Jared, it is June. And June is Men's Health Month, Men's Health Awareness Month. It's a month that we talk about men's mental health, men's physical health, men's emotional health the most. And, you know, I've been interviewing and talking with men who I really love and respect. And it's been so eye-opening because I think a lot of times as women, we can minimize men's health to, all right, how you doing? And when's the last time you've been to the doctor? But it's so much bigger than that. And I think also men minimize their own health so much because society doesn't always allow you guys the space to say, I'm well, I'm not well, I'm sick, I'm tired. It's like, listen, things got to be done and I got to do them. So
Exactly.
So for that, I want to ask you, you know, how is your mental health these days? And what do you feel like the people around you, your community could do, if anything, to improve it?
That is a loaded question because there's no simple answer to it. Yeah. You know, you can say things like, well, you know, if I had more time off of work or if I made more money or, you know, whatever the case may have you, there's no real straightforward answer to it. It's one of those questions that you know the answer to, but you can't express it. Where it's like, I need this, or, you know, this would help. But I think what is helping is asking men those questions and it becoming more normalized and saying, hey, man, are you okay? Yeah. You know, what's going on? It's okay to talk about it. Yeah. Because I know for a long time there's been stigmas around, you know, talking about your mental health, especially as a man, you know, and even for women, they kind of push it under the rug. But I know more so for men, like you said, you kind of gotta, you know, things have to get done and I need to be doing them. So, you know, again, I'm grateful for the air and the space and the time to talk about these things.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk. I feel like a lot of men struggle silently. Even my own husband, sometimes I'm like, are you okay? Like, I know you're happy overall. You know, I know your life's not terrible, but, you know, you've been through hard things. There's a lot of pressures of being a man. There's a lot of pressures of being a husband, especially to a wife who, so the other day I was like, do you wish you married someone who was less ambitious? He was like, baby, no. But I be having us all over the place, like, all over the place, doing everything. And so as a husband, as a father, you know, what you're going to get into, talking about my beautiful, amazing, smart, strong, courageous, amazing nephews. But, you know, as a husband and a father, how do you fight your battles and let people in, let your wife in, let your family in, or do you?
Well, I'll say this. My wife prays for me a lot.
Yes.
You know, because I wouldn't say I'm the most, in this point in my life, I'm not the most open person. You know, I feel like a lot of times men don't want to burden other people or be seen as complaining about, you know, issues or things like that. But I talk to my wife, you know, every now and again. She checks on me. She's like, hey, you know, how are you doing? And I'm like, bro, this system is systeming, man.
Yeah, yes. Yes, it is.
The conspiracies are conspiring and, you know, There's
society
a meme.
is
There's a meme. We can say, give a brother a break.
Yeah.
How much more can I take? But like I said, my wife really prays for me. She checks on me, and she does a wonderful job of really trying to let me know that I am valued and appreciated and loved. And I know a lot of times that might not be a man's love language.
Yeah.
Is, words of affirmation or things like that, So I appreciate hearing it.
Yeah.
It definitely helps battle the societal thoughts that, I know myself and most other men have, where it's like, bro, I just don't feel like I'm doing enough. I just don't feel like this. I don't feel like that. And it's like, I want men to know that, if you are doing your best, truly, if you're doing your best and your family is provided for, they're not hungry, there's a roof over their head, your children are laughing and smiling, and your wife is happy, you are doing the great work. You're doing
amazing,
a great job, so definitely take that time and take those moments to appreciate that.
Yeah, that's good. You are a father of 3, which is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Slow down.
I know.
Leave that girl alone.
Listen, if there's one thing I want anyone to take away from this podcast today is fun leads to family. Just remember those wise words that if you having fun, it might lead to family. That's how my 3 got here. Just trying to have some fun, man.
Too much fun. So it's so funny because the last 2 were pretty much back to back.
Yeah.
And so in my wedding photos, you and Jackie are holding Gideon. And then here comes Zion.
Yep.
And people be like, wait, that's not the same baby? I'm like, that's not the same baby.
They just got the same face.
Yes. And they are a year apart, year and a half apart?
Yeah. Gideon just turned 2 in March of this year, and Zion is going to be turning 1 year old in August.
Yes. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
y'all wasn't playing.
Runner up.
And when I look at you with your sons, it's probably one of the most healing things in my life for a lot of reasons. But the biggest reason is because, you did not have what you are. We did not have, but you specifically, because you're a boy and you have sons, you did not have the father that you are. And when I was doing my episode with Dad, which you'll see, he was very honest about that, very honest about the fact that watching you is like a miracle to him, because he knows he didn't do that for us, know? And so as healing as it is for me to just watch, I've wondered, and I wanted to ask you, what has being a father healed in the fatherless boy in you?
That is definitely a question, because it's healing, but it's scary too, to be honest, because there is no blueprint for me, and I know a lot of other men and families have faced this, there's no blueprint of, well, how should I do this, or how do I go about this? You obviously know what not to do. You obviously know what not to
do. Don't leave.
Check.
Right.
But, after staying, there's so much more. And I was at work, and we were having this conversation about what it means to be a provider. And being there financially is a form of provision, but it does not make you a provider. There's a fullness that comes with the word provider. It comes with emotionally being there, mentally being there, physically being there, spiritually being there. in all those senses. And not to say that you won't fall short, but it's the getting back up and being there when they fall to help them get back up that makes someone a provider, So it's definitely been a journey raising 3 boys. And I want my children, I want my sons to know freedom, to know, emotional freedom, physical freedom, spiritual freedom, mental freedom, because a lot of times your oppression of yourself as a man starts when you're young. Just from my experience, because, we're told from a young age that we have to be kind of stalwart emotionally, like we have to be this wall, and you do have to be strong. Like that's just point blank about being a man. You have to be strong because there are things required of you in your life that if you are not practicing strength as a man, it will break you. Yeah. It will break you, and you might not be able to lift yourself back up.
Come back up, yep.
We were just watching an episode of Black Mirror, me and my wife, and it was an episode where this guy got his heart broken. And 15 years later, he's still mad at the woman, still mad at her, still upset about everything she did to him. And it comes to find out that it was all because of one misunderstanding that took him down this road of destruction that basically left his life in shambles. And that can happen to a lot of men because for us, we are passionate. I'll say that. When men put something on their heart or put something on their mind, they give it their all.
Yes.
So when it kind of doesn't work out or it falls to pieces, it's harder for us to kind of get back up and go at it, So I definitely want my sons to know that I will be there no matter what. Yeah. That I'm going to help you carry your burdens. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to help you see through the things that you want to see through. Yeah. Because I love them and I want them to know that they will always have that support. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like there are things that you learned from our father? And I shouldn't say, I said that you were the fatherless boy in you. I shouldn't say that. We were not fatherless. Our father was around. Yeah. Periodically. I always say he never missed a birthday. He never missed a graduation, never missed a holiday. The months in between were murky. Yeah. But once we became adults, it actually flipped.
I'm talking about flip side.
And so for me, there's been a lot of healing in that relationship because kind of the way you talked about your sons just now, I feel like that's how dad is now with us. Like he wants to walk us through anything. Yeah. He wants us to know he's here for us, that he has our back, that he'll do anything, which to be honest, I need it more now than I think I needed it as a kid, so I'll take it. But in that journey of healing your relationship with our dad, what has that done for you? What has that done for you as a man?
It has closed wounds that you kind of thought didn't hurt you. You have
that you told yourself didn't hurt.
Yeah, it's like if you have a scar and you're like, the scar doesn't hurt, but it's a reminder. And I think that's definitely what it was. The scar of, my dad not being around as much as I would have liked, has healed. Yeah. With his newfound vigor in being in our lives. I remember that when it first started.
You thought he was sick.
I thought he was dying. I thought he was 100.
You think dad got cancer or something? I was like, no.
I thought he was 100% on his way out of here because it was that much of a change.
Yes.
I know for me, it was that much of a change for me. Where it's like, nah, bro, he got to be on his way out. He got to be like, listen, man, you know.
Yeah. I knew that wasn't the case because Dad and I had our own personal conversations. I think it kind of staggered. Like it started with me and him having certain conversations, and then he started changing, you know. And then, you know, I think it went down to Sephra and then to you. I think honestly he was his most nervous with you because I think a man knows when he hasn't done right by his son.
Yeah.
You know, and I think for you, you know, there was a part of your life where you were so angry. We all felt it. It's like, we don't even know how to reach Jared. You know, I mean, they would send me like, can you talk to Jared? And I'd be like, oh, all right, I'm gonna talk to Jared. you know, they would always be like, you need to tell your brother. I'm like, okay, I'll talk to Jared. You know, I was so happy when you got married. And even she used to try to call me. And I said, that's yours now. don't call me. That's your husband. But I think he was afraid that you wouldn't accept him, you know, that you wouldn't accept the apologies. And I think it took you time, you know, but what was the thing that I think, well, not I think, I have my thoughts, but for you, what was the thing that helped you really forgive Dad, move forward? Because I think so many men are holding on to so much anger toward their fathers, and they need some sort of encouragement or guide to how to forgive.
Okay, well, what helped me forgive my father, honestly, was in great parts of him, his persistence, his determination in being there. And I know a lot of times sons might not have fathers that have that heart, you know, and if your father doesn't have that heart to seek you out, the next best thing you can do is just really work on yourself and forgiving him. Because if he's not coming to, you know, right that wrong, then continuing to hold on to that is only gonna make the wound fester more and deeper.
Yeah.
But if, like myself, you are blessed to have, you know, a father who can admit his wrongs and wants to seek reconciliation. Thank you. I was like, retribution?
I got you, brother.
Yeah, reconciliation. That's a start. And, you know, if he's coming to you being honest, because a lot of times people can come and not be prepared to receive the truth of the hurt that they've done to you. You know, they might come and just want it to be washed under the rug, like, hey, I'm here now. So all of that stuff.
I'm human. Nobody's perfect. I hate things like that. Has never tried to wash over his stuff with those type of tropes, you know, which I so appreciate. The
definitely.
Accountability.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. If your father who's coming back into your life years later is taking accountability for his wrongs, I think that's a great step in you really starting to grow in forgiveness, because that shows, hey, listen, I know I did wrong by you. I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying it was your fault.
I'm not blaming anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming your mother, because a lot of fathers do that. Well, your mother wouldn't. No. Even if that's true.
Yeah.
If you're going to come back into your child's life, take full accountability.
Yeah. Because, you know, I would move and have moved heaven and earth for my children.
Yes, you have. We won't get into that, but
know,
you have.
Yeah, I have moved heaven and earth for my children. And there's nothing in my mind that I can logically be like, you know what? I don't want to. My wife went to Florida for a week and took my children. And I was, as much as I enjoyed the peace and quiet, I was like, they're my world. Yeah. If I don't have them, then I kind of don't got nothing else going on. It's like, oh, when y'all coming back? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, again, going back to men who are seeking to reconcile with their father. If your father is coming to you in a place of humility and honesty, and I think you have to accept that and then go from there. There will be arguments. There will be fights. You will say things that are going to hurt him. And prayerfully, he is open to receiving that. Now, don't just be like, yo, you trash. Like, have some civility.
And have some compassion.
Have some compassion because he's coming back.
Right.
Because it takes a lot. It takes a lot for a man to come say he's wrong, you know, and especially in such a major way. Like, it takes a lot for a man to say, hey, I'm sorry I did not raise you. I'm sorry I was not around to encourage you and teach you and train you up in the ways that I should have. And that is a systemic issue within our people because my father had the same thing with his father. And I'm sure his father had the same thing with his father. And if you have sons, you want to be the curse breaker. You want to be the chain breaker of that curse, of that, oh, well, you know, I didn't have a dad and this, that, and the third. It's not a funny story, but it's a funny story. I remember a long time ago, we were in a church in Brooklyn and we were, I think it was either campus or teen ministry. And our teen worker asked us, what are we all doing for Father's Day? And all the boys looked at each other and started laughing. Like, bro, what are you talking about? Father's Day? You mean second Mother's Day? So, you know, I prayerfully, all of us, you know, have healed. You know, and if we have sons, you know, we are teaching and showing our sons the love that we would have wanted to receive from our fathers. Had they, you know, had the understanding and capability to do such.
Yeah, that's good. Let's talk about the relationship of a mother and a son, right? Because we were raised in a single parent home with our mom. And even earlier today, you know, we were talking about the sneaker thing. You was like, the mom's the first protector. That's not the natural order of things, but that's the way we grew up. Talk about how your relationship with our mom informs the way that you parent and how you are as a father.
My mom is a very lovely woman.
Yes.
And she, in all her ways, she's patient.
Yes.
She's understanding.
It's a good time.
Yeah. She's patient. She's understanding. And I will say this, I'm grateful for the woman that she was and is continuing to grow in, because you have a lot of times parents are not open to having conversation with their children. Yeah, like my mom is in her best way, always seeking to be a better parent to her children. And she may step in it sometimes, but she can apologize.
Yes.
You know, she can apologize, and I appreciate that. I will say what I've learned from my mom in being a dad is you have to really love your children and meet them where they are when they are where they are.
Yeah. She talked about that. I don't know if you saw the episode with she and I, but she talked about that. Yeah.
You know, because once if you try to push your child beyond where they are, it may very well, first of all, hurt them and turn them against you.
Yeah.
Because your child is not meeting the expectation that you're putting on them. And at the end of the day, that's really what your children want.
Yeah.
You know, especially at a younger age, like my 6-year-old, all he wants, and my 2-year-old,
my babies,
all they want is for me to be proud of them.
Yes, they want your approval.
They want my approval. They want the accolades, and you can't always give it to them, especially when it comes to correction. My 6-year-old, when he was first born, I would say he was a perfect child. Slept, 8 hours as a baby, wasn't a crier. He was perfect. Perfect. Very different from his brother. Very different.
Yeah.
So he wasn't a big trouble. He didn't get in trouble. But when he started getting in trouble, he did not like it. He was like, bro, I thought we was cool. Like we was dogs. What's going on? What you mean? I'm getting pow. Yes. But you still, in those moments, in those teachable moments, you still have to let them know that, hey, I'm doing this to help you grow into a better man.
Yes, mommy was very good at that.
Yeah, and you can't just correct them without explanation. You can't teach them without experience.
Yep.
And that's what I feel like mom let us have. Mom let us have experience.
Yes. She let us have our feelings.
Yeah,
We did not grow up in an emotionally shut down home.
Yeah.
We had our feelings. We
Yeah.
had our family talks. We could tell our mom what we liked and didn't like.
Yeah.
We could tell each other what we liked and didn't like.
Yeah.
It was a very affirming home. We couldn't really tease each other too much. We had to sneak and tease each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
We couldn't call each other stupid. That was we couldn't call each other ugly.
Yeah.
My siblings couldn't make fun of me being darker or whatever. We would have to. It was certain little playful things, but
Yeah.
my mother didn't play that.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was, you're gonna speak highly of each other.
Yeah.
You're gonna speak, or you're not gonna speak at all.
Yeah.
And I really, as you go, let me know if you've had the same experience. As I get older and I be around people, I be realizing wow, we were really raised well.
Yeah. Oh no, trust me. I've met some people with some trash parents. Wow.
Yeah. Even with dad not in the home, he was still a great father compared to some people's fathers.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people's fathers who live with them. I'm like, you know what? It wasn't that bad.
It could have been worse.
It could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
I never felt like my parents didn't like me or didn't love me. There were times where I felt like I disappointed them or that they compared me to my big sister or whatever, even though they tried not to.
Yeah.
And I think some of that stuff too, as I get older, I realized that was just my internal feelings. I remember feeling a lot very misunderstood. But then also when I look back on my childhood, people would ask me questions and I wouldn't want to explain myself. Well, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to understand.
Not a clue.
Right. So if there are some things that I look back on and I'm like, yeah, there's some things that I know that I could have been contributing to or just, the enemy wanted me to believe about myself, right? Because there's spiritual things at play too. It's not just, you and what you teach your kids. There's a whole ecosystem. Their friends at school, what they're watching on TV, the music. And so I really do think about that and think, about my childhood in that way. I wanted to ask you this. How has your faith, which I feel like has gone through so many different iterations and growth, and, you've become a person who really is deeply rooted in your faith. How does your faith inform the way you parent? Because we grew up in a very faith-informed home.
Yes. I don't know if, I probably spoke about it, but my mom prayed through New Year's one time.
Yes.
Faith.
Yes. She was a praying woman. Yeah, we were, the story that he's alluding to is we were on New Year's Eve. So growing up, my mom made everything a thing. Holidays were so fun, so beautiful, candy everywhere, decorate. My mom, one of the things that I want to imitate if the Lord allows me to be a mother is that she made things fun. So New Year's Eve, she would get us sparkling cider and snacks and pigs in a blanket and whatever else, hors d'oeuvres, make it like a little party for our family. And so she would usually pray up until 2 minutes before the ball dropped. Well, one New Year's Eve, she's praying heaven down. And then we're trying to get her attention because the ball is about to drop. And Lord, help these children to understand that there's nothing more important than praying to you. She done prayed through the ball dropping, which was the whole point that we stayed up for. And so when she got up, she was like, I'm so sorry, y'all. I thought y'all was getting impatient. It was the funniest thing. So yes, we grew up.
Yeah, especially even hanging out after church.
Yeah.
Hours.
Yes.
Just chatting.
Yes.
So, the way my faith influences my parenting is in the sense of I have to be the example to my sons. My wife cannot be the example to my sons. She has her role
Yeah.
as their mother, the tender vessel. My sons can come to me and be comforted, but they get a different and more fulfilling comfort from their mother. More so when they come to me, it's, hey, what's going on? Okay, I know you didn't enjoy that, but you got to keep trying. You got to keep pressing on. You got to keep, doing it.
Yeah.
Especially like my son now, he got a skateboard, a longboard, and
he's doing his thing.
He's riding on it and he's so happy. But when he falls, it's like, oh man, but he's growing in that, and I'm seeing the fruit of the lessons of, hey, you gotta persevere, you gotta stay strong, you have to push through. And when you say persevere to a child, they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, sorry, talking to a 6-year-old. You gotta keep going. You gotta try again, because if it didn't work this time, it might work next time. And even if it doesn't work next time, you shouldn't give up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one thing I really want to continue to teach my children is perseverance. Perseverance and patience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things in life come from patience.
Yeah.
Come from, just being slow to speak.
Yeah.
And quick to understand, and really hearing someone out in their fullness.
Yeah.
Hearing out a situation in their fullness. I want my kids to have great discernment. I feel like that's definitely something me and my wife have grown in leaps and bounds in recent time is discernment, because growing up, you learn, or you have these moments where you give to people that you shouldn't. You give of yourself to people that you shouldn't. And I don't want my children to learn that too late, because that can be so harmful.
Yeah.
Giving of yourself to someone who isn't appreciative of it, who is manipulative, who is just taking advantage. And I would love for my children to avoid that situation in its fullness if possible. But if it forbid it happens, I want them also to have the tools to overcome those feelings and be able to still press on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's good. How do you use your relationship with the Most High to, I guess, regulate your emotions and your feelings? It's a complicated relationship.
It's definitely a complicated relationship. But I will say that from my younger age till now, I have grown immensely in being slow to anger. I, growing up, was hot-headed.
Crash out. Big time.
Right. And let me say this. Anybody who knows me, those situations were rightfully so.
Yes. Never without reason. I will give you that.
Listen, I've grown. I believe in diplomacy. I believe that we should have a conversation first. And if the conversation doesn't work out, then we can go to other options. But let's talk first, because I can admit if I'm wrong. And I don't think a lot of people accepted that for a very long time. Because there were instances when, me and my wife, we were, that stage before wifehood, fiancé-ship, where people would come to her and say things about me to her, and she wouldn't tell me as a form of protecting me. And, we've had this conversation multiple times, and even years later, it's like, you have to tell me these things so that I can then talk to this person and
address the situation.
Yeah. Because if I truly wronged you, let me go about it the right way and say, hey, you know what? I apologize. Yeah. I'm sorry that what I did came out that way. That was not my intention, and I apologize for it being received as such. But if it was just some foolery, like, oh, well, I just don't think Jared is this. Like, somebody told my wife that they did not believe I was going to be a good leader to her. And in that moment, my wife, like I said, she's a prayer warrior. So in that moment, to her, that was a very big thing. And she prayed, and, it was shown otherwise. But stuff like that hurts men because that's our role. We are leaders. And I'm not going to say I'm a perfect leader. But I'm definitely
You're pretty good.
I'm doing
You're pretty good,
doing a bang up job. You know what I mean? But it's instances like that where someone feels like they have a level of access to you where they can say these certain things and then walk away.
And you're saying they're not gonna walk away?
No, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna have a conversation, and I think a lot of times people don't want to have that conversation. People just want to say what they want to say to you, and go on about their way. And I'm not that. I'm not that kind of person. Even at my job. Even at my job, I'm very enthusiastic.
We are confrontational people.
I won't say confrontational.
I'm confrontational.
I won't say confrontational, but I'm willing to confront.
Maybe that's. I'm not confrontational unnecessarily. I actually think I'm pretty diplomatic and logical.
I feel the same way.
But we're going to talk. I'm not going to be feeling all these feelings and they not saying nothing. I'm too grown. You know what I mean? I'm not a child. And I'll talk to my parents, friends, family. I'm going to say what I need to say.
Because the way I'm playing it in my head, I'm being disrespected.
Yes.
The way it's playing in my head, you talking real crazy, and it's not making me feel good. It's not making me feel good, and I would like to feel good. I would like for you to feel good.
Right. I would like the hawk inside of me to stay inside. I don't want to turn green.
Like, if I don't have to feel this way, then why feel this way?
No, truly, for real. So speaking about that young crash out Jared who has changed, you've changed so much. Let me just say this: you've changed and kept all the best parts of yourself.
I hope so.
I really feel that way. I feel like you've gotten softer, but not soft. I feel like you've gotten way more responsible, but you haven't lost your fun, kiddish, goofy side. I definitely feel like you've grown in discernment. And it took a specific situation, in our family for me to realize that, like, he knows what he's doing. I may not always understand it. I may not always agree with it. But he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, and he knows why he's doing it. And sometimes, with the men in our lives, especially if you're a big sister or mom, whatever, you just have to let them live. You cannot control or manipulate. I think when it comes to me and you, we've had some intense moments when it comes to being there for each other in really hard times. I feel like we've seen each other cry and hurt in different ways that maybe other people in our family didn't physically see, even though they may know of the situations. I always tell people, if someone did something to me, I'm calling my brother. You know what I mean?
I'm on your head.
It's not, there's no, my husband has a lot to lose. Job-wise. And he gonna be with my brother, but I'm calling my brother. Maybe not now because you have 3 kids. But
no, I'm on your head.
Without the 3 kids, I'm calling my brother because you're gonna be hurt. Like, like you're gonna know not to ever mess with me again. So I feel like we have a very specific relationship, and I feel like you and Sepher also have a very specific relationship. Like, we're very blessed. And I think that because it's our family and it's just our normal, we don't realize that other people don't have this. Like the forgiveness. We have all forgiven each other and true forgiveness. Not like forgiveness with like a little bit of spice on it. I still feel away. Like true forgiveness, true understanding, true having those hard conversations. We've had difficult conversations where we all had to sit and listen to each other. And I think that it has been so healing. It's been so healing because I feel like the parts of ourselves that maybe we didn't know how to communicate clearly as children, we've learned how to communicate them as adults. So what I'll ask is, what would you tell your younger self, you know, that he was going to be when everyone else, maybe even family, was telling him that he couldn't be this or that? What would you say to that kid?
You know, it's funny. I feel like I've thought about this and I did not know what to say. But even in this moment, it's still kind of hard to come up with the words because it's so much you want to say. Invest in Apple stock, you know, stuff like that, you know. But what I would tell my younger self is to continue to be you, but be open to being a better you sooner. You know, be open to being a better you sooner.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, a lot of times when I think about, I'm not one of the people that's like shoulda, coulda, wouldas, but every now and again when you shoulda, coulda, woulda, it's like, man, if only I had the understanding, the emotional level that I have now.
Yeah.
I feel like things would be as much difference as I could make them. It's like I can't go back to like the 2008 housing crisis and buy a house.
Right.
I was in like, I think I just finished high school.
Yeah.
But there are so many emotional pitfalls that I came across in my life that had I had the better understanding and the discernment that I do now, I think I would have avoided a lot of those unnecessary pitfalls.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what I would tell myself is be you, but don't be afraid of being the best you or a better you.
Yeah.
You know, because that is what is going to help you down the road and, you know, help you avoid these certain sand traps.
Yeah. I feel like I remember, you know, there was a time in our relationship when we were living in New York and you were just so freaking hard-headed, man. You were grown and we would talk about stuff and you would call me for advice and not take the advice. Or, you know, and I used to think to myself, what is wrong with this boy? Like,
Listen.
you know, and I think that one of the things that as Black women, especially because, again, you were raised in a home with two sisters, your mom. When we went to be with our extended family, it was all girl cousins, pretty much, that would come around consistently. Yeah. Your grandma, your aunts. Yeah, your uncles weren't really around consistently. I'm talking about, like, we used to go to my grandma's house like every Sunday.
Yeah.
You were sometimes the only boy, period, right? And so you grew up hearing a mouthful from women about what they think you should do, what they think you shouldn't do, how you should do it. And I think sometimes as women, we don't always understand what a man actually needs from us, right? He doesn't always need, even as a sister or mom, you to lay a heavy hand of opinion on him, or, you know, he doesn't always need to know that what he did is not something you approve of or whatever. Yeah. And I feel like I've had to learn as we've gotten older, and especially as I've gotten married, the best way to communicate with a man to actually be helping him and not just be, you know, telling him what you think. So in that vein, what do you feel like you can tell Black women specifically, but women in general? All right, not that face.
No, I made that face because it's like, ooh, this is one of the things. It's like, oh, nah, he canceled.
Nah, we'll edit it out if you say something crazy. But yeah, what can you share with us, and share with those? Assume these are women who actually want to help. This is not the men ain't nothing. It's not that woman. Okay. The woman who actually wants to help, who loves, who appreciates, who affirms, you know, for all of our opinions, I think you grew up in a very affirming, you know, situation with Black women for the most part.
Yeah.
But in general, you know, what would you tell us? What could we have done differently, and what can we do now?
Well, first and foremost, Black women are amazing. Sisters, keep doing great. Keep succeeding. Keep growing. Keep being beautiful. I will say, from my personal experience, my wife is my biggest advocate.
Yeah.
Sometimes to a fault. But she is very conscious of her role. She's very conscious of what she is here to do and how she is here to help me and help our family. And I think in this new world that we've come to, a lot of it's been shown or told that, oh, a woman needs to be more than a mother and a wife and a homemaker, and making that your goal as a woman is silly in this, that, and the third. But I believe that is a core value in a great marriage, and in a great woman is a woman who understands her role and is like, listen, I'm here. You're gonna support me. I know that, and I'm here to support you in whatever way you may. If it's just listening, you know, I feel like a lot of times men may not feel heard by their significant other. So, you know, just listening, you know, ladies, just listen to your man. Sometimes I know y'all want the same thing. Y'all be like, oh, just listen to us. But men are solution oriented. Sorry. But just listen, because sometimes your man might just want to talk, or he might not want to talk. A lot of times, I know a lot of times silence, and women are like, but he's being quiet. Is he upset? No, he's just content. He might be thinking about, you know, something that happened to him at work, or something that happened to him in a video game, or he, you know, whatever. It's just like, man, I should have tried that. Might have beat that boss, you know, whatever the case may be. But just, you have to know your man, and you have to know how to support the man he is.
Yes.
You know, so if you feel like, oh, I don't know how to support him, just watch him, talk to him, really listen to him when he's speaking about things that are on his heart or matters that are important to him. And from there, you can learn how to best support him. It might be having the house cleaned when he comes home from work. It might be having his food ready when, you know, he gets home from work. Or it might be, hey, babe, you've been working hard. Let's take this time off. I know you're off this weekend. Do you want to, I kind of made a plan. Do you want to go out and we go for a hike, or, you know, we go relax, or whatever the case may be, you know? So there are tons of ways that I know you women who have ingenuity. I'm about to say ingenious. Ingenious, creative, you know, big-hearted women will definitely find a way to encourage your men, because that's really what they need. They need encouragement. They need reinforcement of, hey, what you do is appreciated. And, you know, I feel like definitely in my household, from my wife, I get that in strides, even from my children. Like, if I go to sleep and they don't see me, I'll wake up and come out the room and they'll run to me, arms up. Yay, daddy's up. You know, daddy's up. We missed you. Or if I go to the bathroom and I'm in the bathroom for too long, they're like, oh, daddy, we missed. I'm like, bro, I don't know where y'all, I'm not going nowhere. I'm one of the main two people that's with y'all all the time. I'm here, you know?
They love you, man.
Yeah. So, you know, just be that support system that you are to him, but be the support that he needs. It's like my sister said in a recent clip, help that isn't helpful ain't helpful.
Yeah.
You know?
It's very
so
true.
be helpful help.
Yeah, be helpful help. No, for real. And I think even, I want you to speak to the community of women around Black men because, yes, if you have a wife, great. But you also have sisters. You also have a mom, right? You also have female friends, I'm guessing, or at least you used to.
Yeah. No new friends.
No new friends.
No new friends.
I talking about when we got married. The friends you got now, that's the only female friends you got now. You ain't going to make another female friend ever again. God bless you. But no. What can your community of women do, to be there and support you?
I think the community of amazing, smart Black women can. Okay, so this is a whole nother thing, but society has made women, especially Black women, feel like they need to take the reins. That they have to. Man, not doing it. I'm doing it myself. And that is also in part on us for not fulfilling that role of protecting our women, of being there, of, making the moms have to change tires and stuff like that. But I think Black women have to see men make a return to form, make a return to, hey, we want you to know that we are here to protect you. That yes, it's great that you can protect yourself. It's great that you care for yourself, but we are here to, show you that you are loved, you are valued and respected. And I feel like in definitely more so recent times that within our Black community has, it's on a weird influx. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low.
Yeah. Depends on what podcast you watch. Truly.
But I think, again, we have to go back to our doo-wop credentials of women are to be protected. And I think once Black women don't feel like, oh, I have to do it myself.
Yeah.
It's on me. They can kind of soften up.
Yeah.
And get back to being the life givers that they are, because I know a lot of women deal with this, struggle with having a masculine energy, and they're like, yo, I don't wanna be the bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of being the bro.
Yes.
I want to be me. I want to be girly.
I went through that for sure.
So
yes.
I want our community of women especially to start getting back to that, because that is how you will heal. That is how you will find, peace within yourself, when you start getting back to how you are supposed to be. When a creature or animal is living outside of its role, it does more harm than good. So if a man is living outside of his role, not being a provider, not being a protector, it does more harm than good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like society has kind of made it a 180 of where, oh, well, the man, he has to, you can still be soft as a man and still be masculine.
Absolutely. 100%.
Being soft doesn't have to have any negative connotation. Yeah. It just means that you have a welcoming personality.
Yeah. And it also means that you are not afraid to show your humanity. I tell people all the time, my husband is a lot like my brother. They can be very fun, very goofy. They have their emotions. Sometimes they can wear their emotions on their sleeves. Sometimes they can play it close to the chest. And my husband really had to reframe my idea of masculinity, in the sense that masculinity is not just, I'm gonna shoot from the hip, I'm gonna blow up every time I don't like something. Because that's what we grew up around. We grew up around men who were angry, and in terms of, like, when I say grew up around, not necessarily the men in our lives, but the men in our environment.
Yeah.
We grew up in Bed-Stuy in the 90s, and knock somebody out if they look at you wrong or talk to you wrong was par for the course, right? And learning a different way of dealing with things from seeing my husband has helped me understand that that's the most masculine thing. Being soft and welcoming and warm is so masculine because it allows me to operate the best in my feminine. I know men who are masculine and macho and they're harsh with their wives and they can't navigate their wives' emotions and that, hey, you shouldn't say that to her. Yeah. That's hurtful. That's going to hurt her self-esteem. That's not a funny joke. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just so grateful for the growth I feel like I've seen in Black men in general. Because I feel like we're in a situation, I love what you said, returning to form. I feel like we're in a situation where people want to return to form. And I also think, if I could just speak to the women, you know, I think when it comes to Black men's health, Black men's mental health, Black men's physical, spiritual health, we've got to remember that their job is to protect us, but part of our role and job is to respect them. So many Black men's mental health, I speak to a lot of men, a lot of husbands, but a lot of men in general. And so many of their mental health problems come from not being respected, being spoken down to, being neglected, be it as children or as young adults, being told what they weren't over and over and over again. And I think I've learned, if the Lord gives me sons, which please don't play like that. Give me daughters, please. But if the Lord gives me sons, one of the things I want to practice with them, and one of the things that I practice even with my nephews, is firm affirmation. I'm going to be firm with you. I'm going to correct you. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to steer you in the right direction, but it's always going to be in the affirmative, not in what you aren't or can't or shouldn't. It's going to be, these are the things that you need to be doing so that you can become this great man that I know you already are. Yeah. And I believe that is one of the ways that we can really contribute to the health of our brothers, our husbands, our fathers, our friends.
Definitely. You gotta speak life. Yeah. Into your man. You got to speak life into your brothers, your uncles, the men in your life, because they might not hear it anywhere else. I think, a lot of times men, I don't know. I can speak for myself. I can say sometimes I feel solitary as a man, because again, it's not like we're always speaking about our feelings, and we're like, in those moments where it's like, hey, man, I'm feeling like this, or, I'm thinking about this, but you have to have the ability, especially women, especially our sisters, aunts, mothers, wives, all of that. Y'all have so much power in what y'all say. It can really make or break the man that you're speaking to, so definitely I would encourage, if you can say something nice to one of the men in your life that you love, if you can see him changing and becoming better, encourage him on it, because he might not think anybody sees it. He might be like, you know what? Nobody sees me change. Yeah. Nobody cares about this. Yes. And if you say, hey, I see you being more patient. I see you being more loving. I see you being more understanding, that would go a long way. Yeah, I'm quick to send my brother a text like, I'm so proud of you. I was just thinking about you and you're a great dad or whatever. Yeah. Because sometimes I just think about him and I'm like, man, he's a great man. Beat the statistics. Yes, he beat the statistics. He's some of the things that people thought about him and would say about him and whatever, They didn't say it to my face.
Yeah, well, yes, no. But certain things, you gave people some reasons to say some things, not most.
I mean, listen, I did not say I was a perfect.
But anything anyone ever had to say about you in the past, they can never say it now. At all. And that to me is so, that's just the gangsterest thing you've ever done. And I've seen you do some pretty gangster stuff. But the most gangster thing you've ever done is become an amazing father, husband, provider. I always say our relationship is beautiful. I wish we talked more. That's on both of us. Yeah. It's not like I'm calling him and you're not calling me back. We just be busy. Life be lifing. But I know that I can always talk to my brother if anything is on my heart. I remember years ago when Ava DuVernay did that movie, I think it was 13.
Yeah.
And you called me and you was just crying like,
it still breaks my heart now. There's that was an eye opener for me. Yeah. You know, because you really don't think in a sense that you're just hated for no reason. Mm-hmm. And when the reality is that you are disliked and looked at less than because
and systemically held down
because of the color of your skin, or you know whatever the other many reasons may be that they feel they have the right to do such things,
to create laws.
You know, laws.
Yes, that and this
is
still happening.
Yeah, you know, there are plenty of people in places that were alive when we were still, you know, 3/5 a man, and many of those people are still in powerful places,
or their descendants,
So that was eye opening for me, because it wasn't at the forefront of my mind.
And see, it was always at the forefront of my mind because I've always been the resident Black studies history person in our family. And so, you know, when you called me, I never forget, I was on this one train outside, about 180 or something, 190 something
I was at work in a store.
And you called me and you was like, I just can't take it. Like, you know, and we've had many moments like that, you know, where you were at the rock bottom of a situation and I got a phone call. And I cherish being one of, because I'm not the only, obviously your wife is number one, but I cherish being a soft place to land for you. I cherish knowing in my heart that when the rubber meets the road, you know that you can talk to me, you know that you can call me. I cherish being allowed to be such a great part of your children's lives. I always tell people, you know, when I'm with my nephews, if I need to correct them on something, my brother's like, did you hear what your auntie said? It's never like, don't tell my kids. Or, you know, because some people are weird about their kids.
Yeah, no.
I cherish how you and Jackie are like, are you listening to your aunties? You know, are you listening to Uncle G? I really just cherish our relationship. I look forward to, you know, Lord willing, us growing old and telling our stories and our children being grown and all those things. Because I just appreciate who you are, and I appreciate being your sister. Like, you know, knowing that I have a brother who is so in tune with so many things. I feel like I can talk to you about anything. My brother is like, he's like my dad in this way too. Like, you can bring up any topic and you will have an informed conversation. Like, why are we talking about this right now? But they just informed conversation. I appreciate that about you. I got a couple questions before we go. When's the last time you cried? And what did you cry about?
Oh, when was the last time I cried? Okay, I think, all right, so songs will make me cry. Yes. I will cry to a song quick. Like, I'll be in the car, family next to me, I'll start crying. The wife will look at me, she's like, you okay? Like, I'm all right. This song is hitting right now. I think the last time I may have cried was either to My Sacrifice by Creed.
That tracks.
Or there's an artist, I think his name is Anise, and he has a song called I Won't Let You Slip. And it's a beautiful, lovely song. I think that was either one of the two most recent times I've cried.
Yes. My brother's also an intense music connoisseur and put me on to all my non-Black music growing up. The Fray.
Yeah. Adele.
Yeah, he put me on to Adele. He put me on to Amy Winehouse. Right? And you were young.
Yeah.
Like, how did you even know about Amy Winehouse?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I feel like this. We've always been a very big music family.
Absolutely.
So,
100%.
you know, I love music. You know, she's done music. I've done music.
Yes.
I believe our sister used to do music.
Yeah.
So we've all had some music experience.
Yeah. All right. So the last time you cried was a song. Okay. I don't know this about you. Have you been to therapy as an adult? And if so, how was it? If not, why?
Okay, so yes,
You
I
had? Okay,
have.
I did not know that.
This was years ago when I used to live in New York.
Okay.
And I was working for NYCHA. And I had a boss who was just like, it was just plain out harassment. It was just plain out harassment. He was actively trying to get me fired and just doing all this unnecessary stuff. So I wound up having to go to therapy for that because I just was not in that moment in a great space.
Yeah.
And I also think I had to go so I didn't lose my job.
Yeah.
But I went.
New York Jared was still crash out Jared. So
I went and I spoke with her and it was okay. It was cool.
yeah.
You know, I feel like, she was she didn't maybe fully understand how I was feeling as a man and the things that I was facing and dealing with, but she did the best she could and I appreciate it.
Would you go to therapy now?
Yeah. Yeah, I think about no, seriously. A lot of times I think about it because it's like sometimes you just need to talk to somebody. I would definitely go to a male therapist, a black male therapist, because I need somebody who understands, or hopefully they understand. Kind of my mindset and what I'm going through and this, that, and the third. But I definitely think it is a great outlet for people who kind of feel like, okay, I don't have anybody else to talk to. Or if you feel like you don't want to burden a loved one, which it shouldn't be. If a loved one is making you feel like sharing how you feel with them is burdensome,
they're not your person.
They're not the person you need to be talking to about these feelings. But I think it's a great outlet, and I feel like the stigma around it is being lifted more and more daily. Because I know a long time ago, it used to be, oh, you in therapy? I'm not. You crazy. But I feel like now more so, it's okay. Especially, a lot of jobs have an employee something program, EPA, I believe, or EAP, something like that. Oh, Employee Assistance Program, EAP. EPA is Environmental Protection Agency. And that allows their workers to go talk to therapists. So if you have that in your perks, use it.
Yeah. I think therapy is helpful because you get to talk to someone and you don't have to care about how they feel about it. You don't have to care about if it's overwhelming them or burdening them, or you don't have to ask, but how are you? Sometimes when you talk to somebody, you unload them and then you're like, but how you doing? You don't got to worry about that with a therapist. And so that's one of my very favorite things. When you think about us as kids and then you see where we are as adults, me, you, and Sephra, our older sister, how does it make you feel? Is it like, this is what I expected, or is it like different?
I honestly could not imagine this. Like, sometimes I speak to my brother and there's a video of us rapping.
Kyle? You talking about Kyle?
Kyle. Yeah, there's a video of me, Kyle, and Dylan doing a song. It was an amazing song.
Kyle is one of his best friends, and Dylan is one of his friends. Both of them were in your wedding. Yeah. Dylan is one of my male best friends as well. So it's us performing a song, and each of our wives are in the room, and we had no clue. We had no clue these were the women we were going to marry. We had no clue these were the women we were going to start families with. Yeah. So when I think about my sisters and myself, I don't know what I imagined our lives to be, but I'm grateful for the lives that we have. You have an amazing husband. I do. And he's just an all-around great guy, loving, caring, funny. Yeah. My sister Sephra, amazing baker. She has a pet dog, a fur baby. Just a big heart, sincerity. Really just compassionate. Yeah, she's the best sibling we could ask for. Yeah, she really is.
So I think, however I could have imagined it what it has become is better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because I know we've spoken about imagination before. You always anytime you imagine something, it's either always perfect or worse than it's ever gonna be.
Yes.
So for what we have become, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing. And let me just say this about you and my husband. Seeing y'all together is like my favorite thing. They get to talking about the games and the movies and the Marvel and the trope and the anime and joking. And, you know, I get outnumbered. I'm like, I'm going to leave y'all to it because I say something to my husband and then my brother start defending him. I'm like, all right, you having a brother moment.
I'm a dispassionate third party.
I love it. But, you know, just growing up in a home where you didn't have a brother to be with you in those moments, it's like so cool to see y'all together. So I appreciate that. Okay, we ask a question to end. I have a bunch of other questions to ask you. Let me just look through them to make sure there's no other one that I really want to ask. No, the other ones I can leave. I will ask you our last question, and it's a question that we ask everybody who comes to our couch, and that is, in the grand scheme of things, what do you want your legacy to be?
I would love and like to be remembered and spoke about fondly as a great father, a great husband, a great brother, you know, because it's those things that motivate people. When you think about someone you love and how great they were and how they affected the people, how their light illuminated the people around them, it motivates you to continue in the good work, to continue being a light to the people around you. So I would love and am doing my best to be and leave that legacy behind for my sons. I want my sons to know that their father loved them and loves them. I want my wife to know that, you know, I think that she is an amazing, perfect, and strong woman. And I appreciate how she has been down for me from day one. Yeah. You know, and I want my family, you know, sisters, mom, dad, cousins, aunts, uncles, all to know that I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me, all the kind words, all the lessons, and you all have played a part in helping me to become the man that I am today. Yeah.
Aw, I love that. What's your favorite lesson I've ever taught you? Can you remember?
There's tons. There's a lot. I feel like the most valuable lesson you taught me, and it's one I teach Yesh, is integrity. Is you have to have integrity as a person, because if you're not an integrable, I don't know if that's a word. If you're not an integrable person, nobody will want to be around you or deal with you because you are a liability. And even the people who love you will keep away from you because you don't have any integrity. They don't know what you're capable of. And I feel like you taught me that, and that is a very lifetime lesson of be a person with integrity, because that will always benefit you.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyler's episode is My Brother's Keeper. And when you think about how you've been kept in relationship with your sisters, we talked a little bit about, you know, how that has gone. But I want you to talk about how other Black men, your brothers, your friends, mentors maybe even, have been keepers for you and how important that is to our community.
That is great. Black men need Black men, you know, and you need your brothers. You need your support system of brothers who can come around you and understand, because there's a difference between men and women. That's just fundamental. And sometimes your female friends or your mom or your sister or your wife may not understand the male feelings or the male, I guess feelings is that
Experience.
the male experience. Thank you. Perfect. The male experience that you're experiencing, that you're having. I know, and it's kind of sad. A lot of my stories, when it came to it, you have to show up. If you're going to be a mentor to a young black man, or you're a father to a son, or a brother to a brother, uncle to a nephew, you have to show up. I have great uncles. My Uncle Tony, I love him, and if he will make you laugh.
Yes.
He is comedy embodied. Yeah. I have another uncle, Uncle Corey. He is where I get all my nerdy stuff from. He's, and they got that from their brother, my Uncle Bernard. May his soul continue to, find peace and be rested. And all of them have, played a part in helping me, first and foremost, love comics, but also grow in understanding and how to be better. Even growing up in the church, I can think of people like Lee, Damon, Rick. There's so many influential men that I've had in my life.
Yeah.
That, I can thank for taking the time of not only being patient with me, but having the heart to stick through with me and show me how to be better.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest thing I can say, is just show up for your brother, show up for your nephew, and be that support for him.
Yeah.
Don't be there to be like, oh, I told you so, man. Even if it's not going to work out, be there to support him when it doesn't. Say, hey, man, I know you was really banking on that. I know you really wanted that to happen. I'm sorry it didn't happen for you, brother. Let's figure something else out and get you back, trying again, So just show up, be available, and that's how I would help.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. This has been a great episode. Thank you for being here.
It's been a pleasure to be let in by myself.
Period. Yes, you let yourself in. Well, my brother, before he sat down on the couch, he baked us some brownies. My brother is an amazing baker and cook as well. Me, my sister, and my brother all throw down in the kitchen. And thank the Lord, because my mother stopped cooking for us about 15 years ago. So she used to throw down too, but it's been a minute. So we're getting ready to enjoy some blondies. But I want to say this to you. If you stuck around this long and listened to this whole episode, first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you're listening on Holy Culture Radio, if you're watching on Holy Culture's YouTube, or if you are watching this on my YouTube, I'm so grateful that you're here. Please subscribe to whatever channel that you're watching us on. Subscribe to my YouTube, Lish Speaks. Any podcast platform that you are listening to this on. We would love to hear your feedback. So if you could go ahead and write us a review, telling us what you think. Go ahead and give us thumbs up, 5 stars, likes, comments, shares, all the things, so that the algorithm can spread this podcast to like-minded people. Our encouragement here is that you let yourself in. Let yourself into the thing that is burning within your heart for you to do. Let yourself into the thing you've been put on this earth to do, because all our time is limited and we never know, when it's going to be up. So I want to encourage you, don't stall anymore. Don't procrastinate anymore. Don't wait anymore. Go ahead and let yourself in, and I will see you back here. Same time, same place next week. Peace.